All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all glory, honor, and praises due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Kahakadash. Double honors to our apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone who rule well over the flock of Israel. Shalom and salutations to Akim out here, which is the words of truth and sincerity. Shalom to all the lords, Akim, elect Akim and Akwathim, scattered Israelites and Israelite foreigners, Aparatha Lord willing. This video is edifying number 5 month. So we're just going to engage with the scriptures and go into that sound doctrine of the Heavenly Father and His Son, which He gave to us for our wisdom. It was given to us for our wisdom in the sight of the nations, but it's also given to us. Let's start with that. It's given to us. You know where they come from, how they got here. It's 2 Samuel 23:1. It says, "Now these be the last words of David, the son of man." It says that David, the son of Jesse, said, "And that man who was raised up on high, the anointed of Yahweh of Jacob, and the sweetest psalmist of Israel said, the Spirit of the Lord spake by me, and His word was in my tongue." And this is how this word goes out. The Spirit of the Lord is opened up and quickens brothers to be able to understand. The spirit of understanding is out here, and then it becomes like a fire in their mouths, or a coal, hot coal, like what Jeremiah said about this word. And now you have to teach. But as you can see, it's the Spirit of the Lord that causes us to speak. It's the Spirit of the Lord that causes us to understand. That word in the Greek, Paracletes, which is the Greek word for, what's that damn? Comforter. Paracletes tells you a deeper understanding of the gospel truth. So this is where you get that deeper understanding. 2 Kings 21:10 says, "And the Lord spake by His servants the prophets." So there you go. Why is the Lord using men? Why He don't just deal with you directly? Because that's not how this thing works, man. The Lord wakes up men, and therefore and thus you have to resort to the faith in your Lord by way of, if this man, alright, is if you believe on his report, and then the Lord will send false prophets. So there's more proof that the Lord never wanted everybody and anybody out here to do this. 1 Corinthians 2:30 says, "And I was with you in weakness, and in fear, and in much trembling. And my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man's wisdom, but in demonstration of the Spirit and of the power." And this is another way Yahweh ensnares and tricks those whose conscience are seared into believing a lie. Why? Because you go the route of the wicked Pharisees and Sadducees, because they brought in their phylacteries, all right, and what is that? Brought in their fringes or the borders. So like you're wearing the gay garments and the goodly garments, and then they had the enticing words. So with you being a lover of enticing words and man's wisdom, they followed that BS doctrine that they teaching. That's why a lot of these churches is filled up with women. Scriptures talk about women being led away through silly women being led away. So these are vain words that a lot of these churches are speaking. Yes, he's holding the Bible, but he's not breaking down what's about to happen. He's not giving you all the wisdom that we have in this day and age. He's not keeping up with measuring the times diligently. It goes on, "Then your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men, but in the power of Yahweh." And you can see it, how the Lord uses the basis of men to confound the wise. He doesn't need you to believe. He needs His elect to believe, and His elect are going to get waken up one way or another by sound doctrine. They're not going to want to hear all the BS. They want to understand and know. They're true worshipers, to understand and know who the Heavenly Father is and who He's directing His message to, as far as calling back His elect salvation and judgment in these last days. Galatians 1 and 11. But I certify you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached of me is not after man. For I neither received it of man, neither was I taught it, but by the revelation of Yahweh Shah. And Paul went first to go speak and persecute the church. He was a Pharisee of Pharisees, but he was being wicked. And so that Yahweh Shah directly knocked Paul off his horse, blinding him. But upon his that time, he was humbled, and his spirit was renewed, rejuvenated. And once he saw his wrongs, he was taught the right way, that he was persecuting the church, that he was supposed to go that route. So the Lord basically stopped him, changed his direction. After blinding him, he received sight again. He was able to now engage in the truth and go ahead and be a head pillar, a top pillar in the church. Not the head, but a top pillar. So he's not after man, he says, but after the revelation of Yahweh Shah. And that's what a lot of people can't understand. Why GMS don't go on debate shows, and why we don't use some of the cheat codes as far as getting more views, which would be enticing words, tricks, nice visuals, special effects, music videos, big old Passovers, cool interactions and stuff, travel vlogs. Yeah, GMS don't do that. You know, our apostles tell you straight up, we don't want that. If you want that, you go to these other camps. We gonna give it to you raw, direct, as Yahweh Bashmi Shah taught it, raw and direct. It was never meant for everybody. So when you're trying to engage in everybody, you're really just throwing this truth off. But you can't do anything against the truth, only for it. You become now a false prophet, and you are now going to be judged by not staying true to this doctrine. You really wasn't allowed to teach in the first place. A lot of men wasn't even set up to be a guide. You were set up to be a blind guide. So I just want to touch on that. I brought this short, straight to the point. Till next time, Shalom.